My child, listen closely to me in this very instant, for the words I bring cannot be set aside for later. Do not let this slip by as just another passing thought in your busy mind. I have stepped into this precise moment to cut through the chaos surrounding you and speak straight to the depths where your soul has been holding unspoken burdens, lingering wounds, and a fragile spark of expectation all together before any other distraction takes hold. Before doubt rises once more, before the past drags you into weariness again, I ask you to grow quiet within. Because what I share now connects directly to the longings you felt were too fragile to count. I see exactly where you stand in your spirit, even when those near you cannot grasp it fully. I see the unshared thoughts weighing on you this very day. I see the load you bore while keeping a steady face. I see the inner struggle between faint belief and deep fatigue that has worn on inside you. That is why I come with pressing urgency, for there are times when the divine does not delay for ideal settings before delivering its message. There are times I speak because your inner being requires swift comfort that you remain remembered. Do not overlook this, for it links to the pleas you voiced when none else could hear. There were longings you never formed aloud in front of others, longings you could not craft with care, longings uttered when your words shook, when sorrow broke through your speech, when even expression seemed powerless next to the weight your soul bore. I recall those instants far more vividly than you know. I recall the precise sound of your voice when you wondered if I still noticed you. I recall the evenings when you murmured just a handful of words because energy had nearly faded. I recall when you posed questions with almost no assurance remaining, when you reached out not from sureness, but from pure necessity. Some of those longings arose in shadow, some while unable to sleep, some while resting in stillness because your soul overflowed beyond explanation. My child, not one of them vanished. Not one utterance faded into nothing. Not one soft call was scattered between ground and sky. I caught every murmur, every sorrow-soaked plea, every phrase you struggled to complete. Even the longings you judged as partial arrived to me whole, because I comprehend what your sorrow expresses when speech falls short. I distinguish between voiced longing and unspoken ache, and I receive both with the same sharpness. I caught the pause when feelings stole your air. I caught when you fought to stay firm, yet your tone grew faint. I caught when you echoed the same plea because fresh terms had escaped you. I caught longings through shaking, through letdown, through delay, through dread, and through worn-down trust that still would not fully fade. My child, I perceive the longing before your lips complete it, because your soul stays open to me always. Even when you sensed the skies were mute, I had already stirred beyond your view. Stillness has frequently led you to assume no progress occurred, but stillness in the divine realm differs from neglect. Many actions I start in quiet, because outward signs often emerge below what your gaze can track. While you track the passing hours, questioning why solutions stayed away, I had already advanced through realms you could not access. I had already tended to elements you never realized required care. I had already held back what you never knew approached. I had already adjusted moments where readiness lagged. I had already cleared routes that still seemed blocked because their clearance had not yet met your eyes. What you labeled as stillness often carried profound activity concealed underneath. You thought your calls vanished into quiet, yet they entered my presence each in turn. Every call landed before me, bearing its true weight. Every concealed sorrow arrived with the full account tied to it. The divine does not accept hurt as indistinct noise. The divine accepts every call with complete grasp of its source. I know which sorrows stem from disloyalty, which from dread, which from depletion, which from isolation, which from letdowns you could share with no other. Nothing merged indistinctly before me. Every call came with precision, and every call held value. There were times you questioned if the ongoing pattern of your longings would cause me to withdraw, because you sought the same thing over and again. But my child, ongoing hurt does not breed irritation in me. Ongoing longing does not prompt me to look elsewhere. I caught you each instance because each instance the call arose, it retained its worth. I do not attend less because you return. I do not value less because sorrow revisits. I stay focused because the soul that approaches me with truth is never dismissed as mere disturbance. My child, open your eyes if you seek guidance at this hour. If you move on too soon, you might overlook why certain elements are now transforming. Some shifts nearby are not without reason. Some sensations stirring in your spirit are not mere fancy. Some instance when you feel that former weight cannot endure much longer signal that progress has truly started. I desire your full awareness now because solutions frequently emerge in modest forms before growing evident. If your soul stays caught in past letdowns, you might miss the initial markers that what you sought draws nearer than ever. I stir the skies on your behalf this day. Take that with full weight because I offer no hollow reassurance. There are times when the divine answers in depths beyond immediate human grasp. What remains partly veiled has already started to turn. What seems unmoved has already known my touch in spots your sight has not reached. I acted where opposition lingered excessively. I acted where postponement gripped too firmly. I acted where concealed solutions awaited the fitting instant to approach you. You may lack tangible evidence in your grasp yet, but that changes nothing about the progress already underway. This word reaches the one who reached out when vigor nearly failed. It reaches the one who came not with firm assurance, but with honest frailty. It reaches the one who continued murmuring even when belief seemed tiny. It reaches the one who wept softly because forming terms proved too difficult. It reaches the one who kept returning even when quiet made the soul doubt all. I understand the price of persisting in longing when letdown has called often. I understand how hard it grows to stay receptive when solutions appear postponed. That is why I speak with such nearness now, for your persistent turning to me amid frailty has not escaped notice. This is no mere fortune. This is no accident. Do not dismiss what I enact as happenstance. Do not label as chance what has formed through longing, sorrow, seasons, and sacred focus. What transforms around you bears intent far beyond coincidence. Even what looks commonplace may soon uncover significance you never anticipated. The solution taking shape stems not from conditions altering on their own. It stems from longing that lingered before the divine, and what arrived to me did not stay unaddressed. This is my reply, direct, mighty, and intentional. I stand not removed from your call. I stand not observing your hurt from afar without stepping in. I reply because your existence holds value before me personally. I reply because what burdens you holds value before me personally. I reply because when your soul summons with truth, the divine stays unmoved no longer. My reply carries no indifference or postponement without cause. It comes through intent, through season, through awareness of what must unfold, and what must stay sealed until the proper time. Some solutions had already launched before your final sorrow faded. While you yet dried your eyes, progress had truly started. While you yet assumed no shift occurred, unseen elements had already moved. While you yet sensed quiet persisted, the season had already begun pivoting below what you could gauge. This is why I urge you against hasty judgment by what still seems unresolved. Some solutions ignite well before outward proof emerges. My child, there were longings you lost track of because seasons stretched and delay grew heavy, but the divine held them close. There were calls you linked only to hurt, yet they helped unlock this current instant. There were shadowed evenings you assumed went unseen, yet those evenings now tie to shifts already unfolding nearby. Remain here and heed closely, because I have not overlooked you. I never shall. Even when quiet stretched wide, I have not overlooked you. Even when hours repeated without outward reply, I have not overlooked you. Even when you doubted if your terms still arrived above, I have not overlooked you. Even when you reached out with scant vigor remaining, I have not overlooked you, my child. I never shall. What you utter with truth arrives to me. What you weep in frailty arrives to me. What you murmur when none else listens arrives to me. And because it arrives to me, it never stays without effect. My child, I ask you to calm your soul and receive this with full tranquility. Every longing you have raised toward me was wholly received, even the ones you judged too frail, too shattered, too partial, too soft, or too familiar to hold worth. There has never been one instant when your voice lifted upward and the divine overlooked it. There has never been one evening when you murmured my name and I looked aside. There has never been a longing so modest that it faded before arriving to me. You may have supposed at times that solely firm longings, assured longings, or neatly voiced longings held power. But I declare to you now that I receive the shaking longing with equal care as the confident one. Because I attend not merely to terms, I attend to the soul beneath them. I grasp your intent before your phrase ends. I comprehend the ache behind your quiet before language takes form. When your spirit extends toward me, even in frailty, even in uncertainty, even in sorrow, the divine accepts it complete. You have regularly judged your longings by the vigor you held while voicing them. On days when belief shone bright, you supposed your voice perhaps rose with assurance. But on days when grief pressed firm on your chest, when your mind grew weary, when letdown hindered expression, you at times questioned if those longings still bore weight. My child, those longings held profound worth as well. I caught the longing voiced with quivering lips just as sharply as the one voiced with firm resolve. I caught when your tone softened because sorrow halted your breath. I caught when you halted because feeling blocked the phrase from flowing. I caught when you echoed the same terms because hurt offered no fresh speech. I caught every effort, every fractured phrase, every partial call, because no longing given with truth ever fades before me. There were longings you voiced while seated apart in spaces where none sensed your soul's load. There were longings murmured while those nearby assumed you fared well. There were longings concealed within routine instants while moving, while pausing, while gazing into quiet, while striving to stay composed through yet another trying day. Those soft longings registered. I caught them even when they never fully shaped into spoken phrases. Some of your truest longings held no terms at all. Some were only sighs. Some were only sorrow. Some were only extended quiet with a soul stretching toward me because terms felt too burdensome. My child, quiet longings register too, because quiet before me stays never vacant when the soul yet summons my name. My child, mend my weary spaces. If you have leaned on me for renewal, I recognize there were evenings when you rested sleepless and uttered nearly nothing because your thoughts overflowed and your vigor ran low. You questioned if merely directing thought toward me sufficed because your lips could not frame what your soul bore. Hear me plainly. I caught those evenings as well. I caught the longing tucked within your breath. I caught the wonder within your quiet. I caught the yearning beneath your worn gaze. I caught what your essence longed to voice when your form felt too drained to speak it out. The divine requires no flawless speech to grasp hurt. The divine requires no refined terms before listening with care. I recognize your voice in every shape it assumes, even when it exists only as inner reach toward me. Even fractured longings arrive above. Some of the longings you recall clearest are those where you felt most frail, instants when you lacked the way to request, when dread outshone assurance, when letdown had called repeatedly and yet you spoke because deep within, hope refused to perish entirely. Those fractured longings held dear value before me because truth always bears great worth. You needed no strength in tone for me to catch you. You needed no mask over dread for your longing to count. You needed no clearing of hurt before voicing it. Fractured longing remains longing when offered with truth. And many of your most meaningful instants before me arose not when you appeared firmest, but when you arrived without disguise. There were times you sought pardon while reaching out, as though frailty lessened your longing's worth. You spoke briefly because you feared perhaps you had sought excessively already. You dreaded echoing because no outward shift had shown yet. But my child, echoing born of deep desire does not weary me. If hurt revisits, longing may revisit too, and I stay watchful each time. I do not tally your returns to weigh my attention. I catch ongoing longing because ongoing hurt still merits my focus. I catch the familiar call when it rises anew because the soul behind it retains its worth. Some longings you lost memory of because much time followed, yet I held them fast. I recall that very day, that very sound, that very load behind each term. I recall longings from chapters you supposed ended. I recall former sorrows tied to requests you thought had dissolved into quiet. The divine safeguards what the soul offers with truth. Nothing entrusted in faith vanishes merely because seasons stretch before outward solutions emerge. A postponed solution does not signal a neglected longing. A still period does not signal a closed ear above. You at times suppose that because calm did not follow your reaching out, perhaps your longing had missed its mark. But emotions do not gauge whether the divine received you. Often I received you wholly, while your feelings yet required space to calm. Often I accepted your longing while outward conditions stayed fixed, because the solution had already stirred in realms beyond your sight. You assume perhaps quiet meant your terms halted short of me, but quiet frequently meant only that hidden labor had launched before outward proof surfaced. If you love me, please like, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.